Like these tips and tricks, it's like opening up a can of worms, like when you start with something, then there's a lot of questions. And I think this is really great because this will also give me the opportunity from your questions to do some more courses about that.
I have an Paul.
Yeah, go for it.
I have an additional tip about your first tip, the architecture, the correcting the tilt. And I think it's not only important for architecture. I'm photographing nature and countryside, but we sometimes have the big windmills around the horizon. They're also standing out of not good. So we have to correct it as well, and the same for trees.
Yeah.
I sometimes forget when I make these photos that I have to correct them later. That in that case I will miss a part of the upper right down and left down. So you have to keep it in mind. That's
right.
Yeah. If you show this first photo again, you have the corrected and not corrected. You see that a part disappears, especially left down and right down. So you have to keep that in mind when you make that photos.
Yeah, I can actually show here what it looks like. Okay, here. So so this one. So if I click here, so that when you do, you also need to click the constraint crop. But if I click here, you can see what it looks like, how much has been taken away here. You see. And I didn't really talk about so you got the vertical crop, but you also have the horizontal. So sometimes it's not in front of you. If you're doing something straight on, it's not in front of you. So you can also use the horizontal to actually twist and turn your image, you see, if you want to kind of get that. So those are just also other tricks.
What I'm also doing with this correction is not crop a full part, but I keep some part of the sky out of the image. So that has to be filled in later. But sky is very easy to fill in, especially if it's a blue sky. So it gives me a little bit more room to keep the image.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah, yes, I do. And I mean, that's why it's really important to edit your own photos, because every single time you edit your own photos, then when you go out and shoot again, then you know the things to look out for. Does anybody have any more questions or any tips they want to share?
Is speaking of blown highlights, do you often or at all shoot with filters in those cases, Paul, when it's super bright and you're over water?
So I don't shoot with filters. I found that sometimes you get this kind of vignetting sometimes with them, because when you have like a DSLR camera and your lens is this big, and you don't get so much of the vignetting. But with these really small cameras and you put the filters on, you can get that kind of vignetting, and I'm not so happy with that. So I don't shoot with. I have shot with filters, but with my drone I don't really. And I think you could. I think if you're shooting into the sun, directly into the water, the sun, you wouldn't avoid the reflection. It would still look white. It's just that yeah. So as I said, I don't do it, but I do shoot with a filter with my DSLR, for example.
Right. So yeah, I mean, I liked the picture you had to show like how you can put the sun behind. Like basically, you're trying to manipulate your drone, which we can't really do with DSLR either, right? We're kind of stuck, right? But yeah,
Yeah,
the position
yeah.
is the key part. So that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, well, when you're shooting from the ground, I mean, it's also kind of principle, I mean, depending on what style you want of photography, but in general, you kind of try to put the sun behind you, and then you basically move your subject. So this is a bit the same. But what's also really great, I mean, in ground photography, midday is not really a good time to shoot because it's like the sun is already above you, but with drone photography, actually having the sun completely above you and you shooting down is actually a kind of a good position, because then again the sun is behind you. You know, your lens is down and then the sun is here. So that's yeah. But yeah, shooting over water is always difficult. So you also have to choose the time of day. You know, when you're shooting into water.
Talking about filters, Paul, I talked about D-Log M that I started to use, and one other advantage of D-Log M is that you can shoot in 100 ISO, which I always also do with photos. And D-Log, DJI, for some strange reason, you can only use 400 ISO,
Okay.
and that means I often had to land my drone to put on an ND filter and get it back up to make video in the right shutter time.
Yeah.
With D-Log M, I can normally shoot photos and video on the same flight, because the video D-Log M can also use 100 ISO. So
Okay, great.
that's another big advantage. Yeah.
Great, thanks for sharing that. It's all those little tips and tricks which which we learn over time. Azim, do you have any tricks you want to share with us when you're shooting people, for example, in Bangladesh? Do you ask them to look up, or you try them not to look up, or what are your tips and tricks to when you're shooting people?
Yeah, Paul. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, previously you told that take photos as like a news set or any is story. When I go to any place, I'm trying to make a story. I'm trying to take different angle from. I am using it as my drone is like a tall tripod. I'm in very down and very up and very high altitude. To in the same environment, I am taking to multiple angle photos, and I want to create a photo set. It's called a photo story also. And basically, I am shoot a human activities, lifestyle in Bangladesh. So I am finding a subject what is the heavy news value and what is the heavy interesting. I also shoot many climate change, environmental pollution, some photos that are taking from abroad but have a very good strong behind the news and behind the subject. And in globally those photos are very demandable and have a very possibility to publish and in for some news agency and contest. So yeah, so basically I am not I'm trying to use my drone as a tall tripod, as a you will like a crane or a yeah.
Great. Yeah, Bangladesh looks very interesting.
Yes.
I mean, in Europe, you don't have these large concentration of population, of people gathering in one place, and so much colors. And so I think, yeah, Bangladesh is and we were talking 2 nights ago with Sabine and Azim and Tanvir about doing a workshop in Bangladesh. I think it'd be a really good place for us to go.
Because people are wear different color of dress. In Europe, in another country, I didn't see that lot of colors. In Bangladesh, people are wearing very different colorful dress and very interesting.
Yeah, it's well, you're dressed in a dark color now.
Yeah,
Hair
hair is so cold because I am now in France.
you're in Europe, so you better adapt to the colors.
Yeah, true.
Great. And of course, Sabina, wherever she is, if she's in the Maldives or in Germany, she's always just colorful.
I have a turtle on my dress, so.
Okay. Great, great. Great guys. For me, this was a really nice, nice gathering, and I think definitely we can do a repetition of these, and then it'll be also kind of good resources to put in our courses. So I'll take notes of what you said, and of course, if you have any questions, even when you go flying again or something pops up in your mind and you're saying, "Hey, Paul, do you have any recommendations?" You can just let me know, or some questions, and I can also try to do something about that. Something that I forgot to mention in the course, which is actually quite important, are horizons. Sometimes the gimbal doesn't calibrate properly, and you find yourself with your gimbal a little bit to the side. And then when you're shooting the horizons are like that. So I mean, it's always very important to make sure that when you take off, that your gimbal is completely straight. But if it's not, then in post-production to do the little slight rotation that it's straight, because there's nothing worse than seeing a horizon
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Cool. Yeah, does anybody have anything last to say? Oops.
Micro. Just an update on the Maldives and our meetup. So I
Okay.
talked to Natasha, and anytime after the 10th of March, we can come.
Oh, great. Nice.
Anytime. Yeah. So we have 5-6 rooms here available. So
So after the
But
10th of
also
May, the 10th
after
of March.
10th of March, yeah, she will be
Right.
fine welcoming us. So
Nice.
just as a short update. Yeah.
Cool. That
Thank
sounds
you.
cool.
Good.
Yeah.
Hope to see you guys. Don't let me alone on that island. Okay,
we
good.
we'll all come and book a flight and come and meet you.
Yeah, please come here. Yeah,
That'd
weather
be
is good. Everything is fine. So blue skies or yeah.
nice. It sounds attractive, especially when it starts to get cold in Europe. The Maldives will be calling even stronger.
Exactly.
Great.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot for joining the call. It
Mhm.
was very nice to join, and yeah, have a great evening, and speak to you soon. I'll try to announce some other courses and some other stuff soon.
Yeah. Thank you for all
Thank you,
for your
Paul.
amazing
Thanks.
tips.
Yeah, thanks so
Thanks.
much, Paul.
Good night,
Appreciate it. This is
everyone.
great. Good night.
Cool.
Good
Have a
Well,
nice
goodbye.
evening. Bye-bye.
Bye.
It's late
Bye-bye.
already
Ciao.
here.
Ciao,
Ciao.
ciao.